Okay. Call a meeting order. It's a meeting properly announced.
Yes.
We'll call, show that all committee members are here. Approval agenda.
So,
Second. Most been made second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Public participation, if we have anything. Approval of minutes of the last meeting. Make a motion to accept them. Okay, motion made, second to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Is there any discussion on that? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Review and approval to advertise for bids.
It's what it is, guys. It's, so we got the SMA back from the state of Wisconsin and talked to the engineer. We want to take the project out.
make a motion to send the project out for bids.
Okay, motion made and seconded to send it out for bids. Is there any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Review and act on the state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation 2023 GMA.
So this is our North Central Region painting agreement. You can see there is an increase in the agreement. We provide painting to the state of Wisconsin under this agreement, what we call the North Central Region. There's this quite a substantial increase.
And what they're gonna pay us?
Yes, but the difference is in that what you're going to see us do now is you're going to see 6-inch paint lines on the state highways. So stuff that we start painting will be wider paint lines. Thus takes more beads, takes more paint. Thus, that's the reflection of some of the increase there. So,
And our equipment will handle.
Is that center line and fog line?
yes,
Okay.
yes, we have the equipment ready to handle that. We actually got set up to do it last year and then they put everybody on hold. So we have the tips and we're set to do it. Yes, that's both lines.
Okay.
So you'll see a difference.
I'm making a motion to accept that traffic maintenance agreement.
No second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to approve the GMA agreement. Is there any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Hey,
All opposed? Motion carried. Review and act on the state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation 2023 GMA.
So same thing, painting agreement for the state of Wisconsin. This one's in what we call the southwest region. So basically everything south of the Dells, south and west of the Dells, and that's where this paint. So you can see it's a larger contract, more miles, larger increase, but it's for the same reason, for the same purpose is what happens. More paint, more materials.
Does that truck run pretty much steady all summer long?
We run our new truck pretty fair amount of time. I think there's probably some room in there yet for more paint, but we actually, this year we actually painted for Columbia County a fair amount because they did break down. Unfortunately, we did have a few paint claims as a result of that, but it does run a fair amount. I can't give you the hours off the top of my head, but we do fairly good with that. So,
and you do state for other counties too then?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so state, yes, exactly what you're thinking. State highways southwest of here. I'm sure you could probably give me a whole list of roads, like for example, Sherry, what are some of the highways we paint down southwest region?
I'm thinking like 47, does
Yeah.
that sound right? And 161, does that sound right?
So is that part of this contract or you just pick up whatever county is in part of their money?
No, the state of Wisconsin gives us this contract, and then they give us a list of highways that we're going to paint for them under this agreement. We don't get to pick and choose which highways we want to do or not.
So what happens if, like, say, in one of them counties, their truck breaks down, you go do that, you just pick up money off their contract if that happens?
Oh, I see what you, yeah, so what would happen then is that if it ends up being a fair amount of money for, they would move money off of their painting agreement onto our agreement. And that's what happened for us when we went up and painted on 53. They moved some money off of somebody else's painting agreement and they moved it to ours.
Okay.
This is a time and material task, so this is not a, it's not a, yeah, it's not a losing proposition for us. We're going to recover our labor, we're gonna recover our materials, we're gonna recover our equipment hours. And then when we get to the end, if we get close, we're gonna say, this is what we got left, this is what's left on your list, what do you want to do?
Basically a force account.
I guess the reason I ask that is you got agreements to use your paint truck in other counties and whatnot. And it's a shared thing, right? Like they share some of our, we share some of theirs.
So so what we're doing here is this is our equipment, our people painting for the state of Wisconsin on state highways. We never send our paint truck out to another county just by itself.
Oh, okay.
We always would send operators with that. I won't let that go on its own. Is that?
No, not really.
So
My question is, what I'm trying to get at is, if, say you send your equipment and whatnot, you're sharing with another county.
Kind of like paving with Washera County with trucks back and forth.
If this is a state project, they would pay you the state wage or whatever, it wouldn't be a shared, like back and forth.
So I'll just talk and then you tell me if I get there. You tell me if I get there. So when we work,
Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm
when we
just,
work for the state of Wisconsin, they're gonna pay our hourly rate. They pay
Right.
that to us.
Okay.
If, for example, Columbia County wants us to come and paint down there for them. They broke down and we went down there and painted. We charge them our equipment rate and our labor rate, our admin rate, and a small tools rate. Sherry's shaking her head yes. We bill them all of that. We don't
Okay.
trade hours or equipment hours. We bill them. If they come out and fuel us, they're going to bill us for that fueling time.
all right,
So we don't have a hidden set of books with, I have 20 hours on you and I have 40 hours on you. We bill what we actually work.
I guess I was under the understanding that, like, one county has the paint truck and they help out the other counties, and then, vice versa, they got maybe a patching truck or something, and they come help over here.
Well, I guess, yes, we do that. We help each other out. We
But it's
share
all billed.
resources, but it's billed
Okay.
resources.
All right.
So the benefit to that is I don't have to own a paver
Right,
and they don't have to own a paint truck. So and I'm not proposing to buy a paver. It's just that's how we share. That's how we work together.
it usually works out.
Well, it can be a struggle at times. It was this year to get a paver over here and do some of the work. I mean, it's been nice to have it sooner, but things got busy and people in other counties get busy. And so, yeah, that's how we.
But they bring their paper over there the same way, they bring their crew and they run their.
When, for example, when a paver comes over here, we ask that they bring their paver operator and their screed people. A lot of times we'll ask for a roller. They have a bigger roller than what we have, but we will run ours. We did on County Z with them. And then the trucking is just wherever we can buy or get trucking from. So it might be Washera, could be Wood County, could be Marquette, wherever we get a few trucks to help haul. But that's all built back and forth. There's not a trade-off or trading.
I'm not trying to get too far deep into this, I just got one more question.
Yeah.
What's the liability if somebody gets hurt from another county on their property?
It's their claim. It goes back to their facility.
Okay, thank you.
We need a motion. Yeah. I make a motion that we accept that Southwest Regions TMA agreement.
There's a second.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the 2023 TMA for the Southwest region. Is there any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All review and act on 2023 asset for purchasing tractor, mower, pickup, trailer, back trailer.
Yep, so it's exactly what it sounds like, guys. We're not asking to buy something today. What I'm asking for is authorization to go start gathering prices for you to look at and take into consideration. If we get a group of prices back and we get something, then we would bring it back and still ask for your, what I want is to go ahead and start bringing stuff back to you. This is gonna be you're not, when we have a meeting next month, you're not going to have 5 things to act on. Just
Be
not,
lucky to have
just
one.
not going to happen then. But we would like to start researching and gathering, and trying to find stuff that's available right now. That's the request.
Pat, is that the amount that we had budgeted or saved up for us at 385, or is that the ballpark?
So the 385 is an estimated cost of what we're proposing to purchase of all these items here. Our current machinery account has in excess. Current machinery account has 720,000 in it. That's gonna go up and down. It's probably gonna go down here soon. Again, Sherry's gonna do some work. Closing the books not now, but soon, end of the year. So it'll go down a little bit. Then it'll go back up as we run equipment. So is it the number? It's the number that we entered in the budget to purchase the equipment. Is it a hard line number for us? No, I don't believe it is, because we're 720,000 right now in our machinery account. So there we have that flexibility to buy something if it does come in over what we're predicting it might be.
Reason why I ask is I see next year it's 685 or so.
635.
Yeah.
635 in 2024. We're showing 2 things there. I did. Sherry's probably gonna, I think we talked about this. I don't know if one of them's gonna have, one of those items are going to give way to the other, because that is a pretty big number in 2024. I showed the truck in there and I showed that excavator in there. Now, as it is, we dumped that excavator back 1 year already again. I think last time we talked, we were 10,000, 12,000. There's a lot of hours on our excavator. We run it constant. So at some point, it's a replace item. So can we handle 635? Yes, I think we can. But then I think as the year goes on, we need to be cautious about what we're doing internally here on purchases of other small items, like doors or shop stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
You just don't.
For the equipment on the list, there also, we talked a month or 2 ago about something to plow the sidewalks out on Z.
Oh,
Was that, or does that come up, or?
yeah, it's come up kind of. I don't know. It's a good spot to talk about equipment in County Z maintenance, I guess, as good as any. I don't know. I hope I don't get, anyway, so County Z sidewalk multi-use path. We are going to work with the Parks Department to provide that service to us. Parks Department does have a Bobcat tool cap that they recently acquired somewhere along the line. They have secured a snow blower for it, and they do have a bucket for it. We are going to provide the salt. They will apply it and do all the maintenance of the sidewalk. So we talked about expectations, time frame, blowing, drifting, snow plowing, snow placement. It's my thought is that we're going to try it with the Parks Department and see how it goes.
Good.
So we've said all that other stuff that we were chasing aside. He was interested. He was more than willing to give it a stab. So that's that part, guys. Sorry about a little bit sidetracked, but it is equipment related, and we won't need to secure another unit at that, for that purpose.
So I guess I'll make a motion to approval to put those, start searching for vendors for this equipment on tractor, boom mower, pickup trailer and back trailer.
Okay. Give a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to go ahead and get some pricing together on the purchasing of equipment. Is there any more discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. 2022 project status report.
Not really too much changed here. I did make a note on the county M stuff, which we kind of already covered. We do have the SMA, like I mentioned, we do just now are gonna take it back out to bid. Just another little quick bid on county M. There is a 2-week minimum advertisement on county M. The holidays are going to be within this time frame. We will run the bid. We will allow bids. I think the intended bid opening is the 10th is what we're shooting for. And that comes from a little discussion with contractors and kind of asking and suggesting that we carry it into 2023. There's a thought for some reason that things might get better cost wise and we get better price.
Should we adjust our meeting then to later on in the month?
So the meeting is that's 2022. The bid opening date is on the 10th. Your meeting is on the 12th.
Oh,
So I can, it's gonna be really quick. It's electronic stuff. They're gonna open them. I can probably get that PDF and Ken will probably get it before I do again, but I can get it to you that same day, probably that same morning. You guys can see the bid results. You can review them. Just gonna make a decision on it's a yes or no, right? And then I did update that County Z stuff. You can see I did put a number in there. Kyle's got this highlighted for us here, but I'm not quite sure why. It is, we're at 914,000 that we paid out so far on County Z. Probably nearing the end of our, what do I say, larger payments, Sherry, because we know that, well, Sherry knows more than I do, and I was surprised once, when I think it was a couple of years, I think it was 2 or 3 years, and we got a bill, then we get a check. It's just a state process. The larger payout of county funds is probably just paid 35, 37,000. We're probably at the end of the large paying of the project, so it's going to be these smaller dollar amounts. And the other two down there, those are things hammered out and done, gone already.
With the County Z project out there, and that maybe that this is a place where you talk about it, or maybe it's on your reports that is, I know that there's those issues out there with water standing in the ditches out there.
Mhm.
Is there such a thing that we can get a limited easement, LT, from a landowner out there and get it, go out into the back slope and opens that area up, a little bit bigger area where the water can
I can
saturate, soak in a little bit more, or more surface area for it to soak in, or
I think as a county, we can try to do it. Now, I don't know if I want to deal with,
No.
do it through the state of
No.
Wisconsin. So as a county, I think we can, yeah,
I was just thinking of, so,
to give it a larger area to disperse and
Yeah.
seep away.
yeah, maybe not topsoil at the bottom, and leave it sand open or something, make it, not that there's much for topsoil out there, but. But then I've heard everybody say that they clay lined all those ditches out there, and that's why it's like that.
Well, it's a heavier topsoil, like come from somewhere down by Wisconsin Dells as much as I know. And the guys all did say it, well, it's really nice topsoil.
Yeah.
So,
I was just thinking of that, so that I know that people will be complaining in the spring when the water's standing in the.
yep, I imagine we will get a few complaints, but I can reach out to a few of those owners in that area and see if they're receptive to giving us, some type of easement to allow, a little more area for the water to seep away. Some folks will be receptive and others are gonna, they'll tell me to, get away.
I know different times I've gone out and if you can get down to that white coarse sand and then put some clear stone in it so the water can get to that clear stone, sometimes it hurt that coarse sand that goes away a little faster.
And are they gonna do anything in front of the slip in there? It's continuing to be people parking on it, driving on it. Or is it gonna be, it is what it is?
I did have a little notation on my notes down at the bottom here, but if you want to talk about it here, I guess in
Okay.
County Z, the multi-use path and sidewalk. I hear the same thing. It continues to be a concern of the folks parking on multi-use path. It's not the intended purpose of it, so what do? I did reach out to Corp Council and of course, there is statute that specifically addresses sidewalks. It does not specifically address multi-use path. So that's my next question or direction was, do we need ordinance to specifically state no parking on multi-use? So I will certainly reach out to Jeff. I do have his response back to me, like I just mentioned. And I had not followed up with him about the ordinance part of it. Now, speaking of that, I guess I'll be kind of talking about Z here and the use of that will be maintained throughout the winter. We do have folks out there that are wheelchair bound. I suspect they are using those facilities. They need to have access to those because now we provided the facilities, and so I would like to allow access to those as opposed to running down the road. It was my intent to post, what my intent is to post no parking across the area where we're having the issues. And then in addition to that, it was my intent to post no motorized vehicles on multi-use. So will that work? I don't know. But I know I don't have an enforcement arm to enforce that. That's another office we'd have to work with.
Maybe we could reach out to the township there and they actually might be receptive to some of it too.
Yeah. And to what capacity?
No parking, maybe.
So no parking on County Z or the multi-use path?
Yeah,
I think the township would be on board, but it's really a county decision.
right, because it's county.
So that was going to be what my intent to do there was that, across the frontage there and then at the access points of the multi-use path.
Anything else?
No, not on that item.
Review and approval of attendance at the BCHA Winter Road School.
So we sent that email out, it's Wisconsin County Highway Association. They have two conferences, one summer and one in the winter. And second amendment to the agenda because board rules kind of indicate that it's the committee's approval of attendance. So I didn't want anybody to violate the board rules or have issues. So that's the reason for it. We do have a member that's interested in attending, which is good.
Make a motion to accept attendance at the Winter Road School for anybody who'd like to attend that highway committee.
Okay, motion been made, seconded to approve the attendance, if someone wants to go. Any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried. Now we're on the highway department operations.
Excellent. So, we have completed some of the boom, our boom mowing, that is basically, it's parked now, we won't be running that any longer. Snow fence is done on both state and county, so our guys did get that done. We are mixing sand right now out back, we have Washington County over here mixing with us, so they'll be, of course, charging us for that service. We work with them when we do that, so it's our man and our loader, it's their mixer and let's see, their conveyor and one of their labor that comes over and oversees their equipment. So we are mixing sand. We kind of talked about County Z, Edgewood to F. I have a couple more things on that topic since we're here now. Talked about the no parking, talked about the no motorized vehicles on multi-use path. And then in addition to that, I've had a request from Parks Department is interested in Town of Rome has a few of these, the digital speed, the digital what do we call it?
Speed
Solar
sensor.
digital speed display. So it's solar operated, but yet it flashes speed at when you're coming through there. That is 25, whether we were driving that or not, that is the speed limit through there. So I told Parks I would bring it up here and see what your guys' thoughts are on if we want to add that, or is it something that you don't want to do at this time. There was a cost to it. Pretty good life on solar panel operated devices. I'd say the flashing red lights that we now have at the intersection of G and C. Oh gosh, I think those Dennis has been gone how long?
I'd say probably 5 years, 4 to 5 years.
So we put those up when Dennis was still here, 6 years, and we've never done anything. They just keep going. So they're pretty decent. I don't know what the interest or non-interest is on something like that.
What's the cost on the initial cost on?
Well, I've looked a little bit, they vary like quite a bit. You can get a pretty basic one, I think, for $1,000. You can get, and then it just goes up from there. I think something in the probably, well, I think the most expensive one I was looking at, or I did see, was in the like 4,700 range. I don't know if we need one like that.
I know our township was looking into some of that on Big One. They were looking at about 3,500.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3,500, you can get a pretty good.
Would you have one each direction or?
I think it would make most sense if you're gonna
Yeah,
put
you
speed
don't
plate
want
up there, you would do it from both directions.
Right by the, basically at the park on both sides?
Well,
At the end.
I mean, where do you want the 25 to start, or
Yeah.
for people to take notice of the speed?
Yeah.
Speed on 25 through there actually starts just south of the park.
Yeah.
And actually starts all the way just south of F.
So,
That's where
yeah,
that is.
if you did purchase those, would the park then be able, you'd give it them, if they wanted to move it further up or
They
further
would be
back?
fixed on a post probably.
Yeah, these would be fixed mounted on a
Oh, okay,
post.
they won't
These would be
wheeled
mobile,
ones.
yeah.
No.
I wouldn't really want,
No.
I would want to have control of them if we're gonna provide them.
Nice thing if you do, go up, you could have a race. It's
Well, yeah. Post on their high score.
So,
I think it's a good idea to, check out, see what.
so what I'll do is I'll grab some more information with some better cost and maybe a few examples, and I'll bring it back.
I like the flashing lights there though. For the pedestrians.
I did, actually, my wife and I were out the other night, and I think we actually ran into Mr. and Mrs. Bork out one night. And I actually had to run down there and try it myself. I went down there and I tripped the light. Yeah, I wish we had them in town on Main Street,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Boy, Pat, you did a good job, she said.
I can see those.
As she drives away.
So I'll do that. I'll gather some better information on the speed plates. Maybe, I thought I found the same thing you guys probably did, about 3,500, kind of that median range for those. And then we talked about speed plates. We've been doing some, well, we're not anymore, downfalls. We had some downfalls from the winds that we went through here. Those are pretty much gone, cleaned up. Kind of talked about it just briefly. We do have 2 vacancies in our shop now. We had a gentleman leave. Most recently, we had a gentleman retire, so that did leave us now with 2 vacancies in the shop. We normally run 3 mechanics in our shop, and that puts us fairly short with winter here now. Our trucks are prepped and set up for winter. But if things go bad, the bays fill up relatively quick, and with one guy that can create a backlog. So we do pull a guy off the crew periodically to help out, and I do appreciate that you guys are willing to do that. There are some things where they feel more comfortable doing than others, right? Some of the electrical stuff, maybe not so much. So,
And with your road crew guy, can he step in then too if he's not on the road?
yes, yeah. So we most recently hired a guy from solid waste, and so we're hopeful that he's going to be able to provide some help and relief in the shop if we get a long duration event or, late night and early morning. That could be the same guy right now. Whereas when we had 3 guys in there, they would rotate that and no one would get completely, I guess, burnt. So,
Is there any other openings besides the mechanics?
no, our outside crew, that's full. Right?
Okay.
All that is full. And then I did, we talked about this briefly last month, relatively short. County Truck Highway G, County Truck Highway I intersection. Had a little conversation with the township. They are interested in some improvements or some type of additional advisory at that location. I think we've played phone tag here a couple times back and forth. So I would like to talk with the town again and see if they have some thoughts, some additional thoughts. Maybe it's something we can bring back to the committee. Maybe it's something we can look at further. I mean, I would just state again, I think our options are, if there's something to be done there in addition, we have the double stop signs, we have the stop ahead signs. I think our next steps there probably are, if desired, are either rumble strips or some type of flashing beacons. Both of those can be a little intrusive to near homes.
I think I would rather see a flashing light there than a rumble strip in front of my house.
So it may be something you see me bring back and we have more discussion about. And then just lastly here, we did rent a aerial lift. That aerial lift right now is working on the state highway system. And we're doing some brushing and some clearing with that. Eventually, that will be used in the township and then in addition on the county trunk system.
Out on J between 16th and N, Is that ditch on the south side of the road, is that on private property or is that county ditch?
It's kind of, I'd say it's probably 85-15, I think maybe 90-10, maybe. In some spots, it's all off. In some spots, the, we want to call it the inslope, creeps onto the right. So we have done some work and investigation on that. We've brought some other state agencies involved with what took place out there. That is not something that we permitted. We did not approve it. We don't agree with it. And so we will work with that other agency to see where we go from here with that. What we're talking about is, we refer to it as the Marty Ditch. It's on the south side of County J. It makes that little half crescent moon shape out into the field, and comes back closer to County J, and then it eventually crosses and goes directly west. It's pretty flat area. I guess they don't think right at the moment. I don't believe right at the moment there's any more water moving through the culvert on J than there has been.
I know a few years ago, we had some issues with that north side.
Yeah,
Where it goes into houses or
yeah,
something.
it's just, I can't remember the numbers here, guys, but from where it crosses County J to where it goes down to the tracks, it's such a long distance, and there's just so much, there's minimal grade there for a grass ditch or a V ditch like that. It's just flat.
Yeah.
Seems like it was like a foot of drop or something.
It's not, yeah, you were on, more concrete. It's very flat.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get water to run
More
quick
sensitive.
through that area. So don't believe it's a huge threat to the roadway. It is back. It is in the field.
I just saw an excavator out there just bailing one weekend and it was a county right away or not.
So the ditch, so there's a historic maintenance agreement that goes with the ditch that leaves, that crosses. Let's see. West of County End, I think it must be about 500-700 feet. There's a culvert that crosses there. And it's right in that area, right there is where there's a historic, there's a documented maintenance agreement that the county entered into at one point to maintain that crescent ditch. And it describes it really well, right down to the point where it gets to the woods, and that's where it stops. That's where the language and the verbiage on there stops. So we know that's the other piece is a little, it's not really, I guess, known who's responsible to maintain it. So, yep, we are aware of that area. It is did take place.
So what's the concern with the cleaning out that we didn't have to?
Well, I think it probably went a little beyond cleaning, in that it was looked to be in excess of a foot of excavation. So the excavation took place beyond the invert of the pipe, which I mean, in some sense, maybe sounds really good, but no more water is going to move through the pipe just because we excavated below the full
It's
line
gotta
of the
get out,
pipe.
have to go through it.
So now water's got to build up before it breaks through there. And then it's not for me to decide, but some of the material I believe was probably baled into what's referred to as a wooded wetland. Again, that's not my determination. And it's not for me to be worried, overly concerned about. So that's the concerns. I don't know. It is private land. As far as the county goes, I don't foresee that. I don't foresee Dustin or I going out there with a fence and a chain.
My thing was, I didn't know where the right of way was, if they were digging it on county right of way or not. And I drove by
Yeah.
that was my question.
That's the call coming that they were digging a vertical ditch on the county right away, and that really wasn't the case. That ditch is actually behind those power poles. And it is, like I say, it's predominantly off the right. And actually, like I just mentioned, that section of ditch by the woods, we technically don't have any formal historic agreement to maintain. Did a lot of salt grinding. I guess if you guys have been out, we are running our salt grind truck, as many other counties are as well. A little weather coming in, so see what that brings us.
Else,
I do not have any.
financial report.
Any questions, comments, financial report? Talked about it briefly, Sherry and I did just a moment ago, well, maybe hour and a half ago. So we're anticipating, we're talking about that, 1.5 carryover that we're gonna move towards county out. So we kind of, kind of quickly added up the numbers. Okay.
Let the books close first.
Yeah, I know. So year end, when Sherry closes the books, things change for us. But it should be, it'll.
Little creative accounting there.
Yeah.
It'll be there, it's just that, how much to say is in each account, until you close the books,
So-
then you'll know.
Right, and so when you think of 1.5 million, you're not gonna look at this financial statement and say, well, there's the 1.5 million. There's gonna be some in maintenance, it's going to be some in winter, it's gonna be, some in the FAS. But as a total, it should be. And then, I don't know. I would just say that we got more money in our quarry account. We initially said 350, well, we're at 380 right now, which isn't a huge number, but it is more as well. Okay.
Identify possible upcoming agenda items. I guess you'll take care of that as it comes in. Next meeting date is January 12th, 23.
Just, I won't be able to attend, and if you want, I can attend online, but I won't be able to be here in person for that. Whether I just log in and be part of it, I mean, I don't, whatever you guys decide on whether that works or not, that's fine with me. And I'll be out of state.
Well, if everybody else is here, we have. not really.
Yeah.
We'll just put you down as excused. Okay. If you do happen to pop in there, just do it.
By the time I get on there. Not that I expect it before, I'm just.
Yeah.
Hey.
Meeting adjourned. You got anything to say with that?
Nope, we're all good on the signature. No signatures today.
Christmas, bring it all the way.